Welcome to Lesson 3 of Preparing for Death, Ancient Wisdom for Everyday Life. Today we're going to talk about obstacles, and these obstacles are obstacles to our happiness, and how we can dismantle some of the obstacles through death awareness. We want to set our intention and identify our motivation. Understand a little bit about the human experience, the beginning, the middle of life, and the ending. Thank you for joining me for Lesson 3 of Preparing for Death, Ancient Wisdom for Everyday Life. So this chapter is about obstacles, dismantling or getting rid of obstacles through death awareness. When we say obstacles, we mean emotional blocks, mental blockages, things that cause us pain and get in the way of achieving the goal of peace and happiness. So when we talk about setting our intention, it is important because that is a mental action that we take. It's not doing anything. It's like looking at our reason for doing what we do, or the purpose. What do I have in mind? What do I want the outcome to be? And as I go into any interaction or group situation or relationship, I now practice more and more. What do I want to, what is my intention, really? Is it to show how great I am and what a great healer and that everybody comes to me, or is it to end suffering and help people? So, and then we have motivation, which is a little more action oriented. Your motivation is, what is the reason you're doing this? What do you want to accomplish? What is the goal when you do the things that you do? So we're trying to add some mindfulness to our life. Maybe we need to make money. We need to support our family. Can we do it in a way that is ethical and helpful? Or are we just trying to, step on other people so we can get what we want? Talk a little bit about outer influences. Of course, as children, we're raised by someone. Someone has to take care of us. Sometimes we get misinformation and wrong thinking from the adults in our lives, and that can turn into actual belief and behavior. So, we've had family members, friends, teachers, employers, employees, just the people that we interact with in the world. And sometimes media is an influence to us. What we see on the television or in the movies or music is giving us messages. And so, again, with awareness, it's good to be conscious of what messages we're getting and what messages we're giving. And with the greater awareness I get, the more I start thinking about, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's a message in that song, I've Got a Woman, a Ray Charles song I used to always listen to. But, sometimes it's like having someone, and really we're just here on earth to enjoy life together. Anyway, I kind of went on a ramble there, but I'm trying not to read. I'm trying to actually talk to you. So the human experience, birth, life, suffering, aging, death, and trouble that is coming in and out throughout. We have this suffering life, and how are we using the lessons that we're learning in this human experience? It's challenging to say the least. And if we want to live a life where we're not inflicting pain on ourselves or others, it's just good to look at it. Of course, we all want comfort and joy and friendship and just all those human things. But again, how we get what we get and how we give out what we give out becomes very important. Trying to do the least harm. So in the beginning, we're born this innocent, beautiful baby that just wants to learn, and everybody's gaga over how cute we are. And then we fall down, go boom, and we start to feel pain and learn. Sometimes I've seen some young children who've been through some really difficult times. Both parents were in prison. They were very young, and yet they've already are growing into some amazing, compassionate human beings. Then in the middle years, I'm very concerned about people between the ages of like 17 and 23, because all of a sudden they call you an adult when you turn 18. And, who trains you? Who prepares you for adulthood? I know I went into it holding a lot of trauma in my life, and I, made a lot of mistakes and missteps and had a lot of problems and caused my children a lot of problems. So, but in the middle part of life, when we're building a family, having a job, just trying to take care of adult business, it can get very stressful. And if we're not really skillful and loving, we can get into some really tough, even violent situations. So there's addiction, there's alcohol available, there's a lot of self-destructive things, not to mention guns and such. So it's important that we do everything we can to support people in their struggles. Then we have life's ending. Wow, I'm starting to feel it at the age of 74, but still very active and very, very healthy, really. But that's the time where everything starts to fall away. It's sort of babyhood in reverse. You lose your abilities, if you have a fall or an illness, you lose your independence. Somebody has to feed you, diaper you, you can't drive anymore. I went through, both of my parents had Alzheimer's, but I lived with my mother for years just to take care of her because she was not safe being in her own home alone. And so I really got to witness, with her, the challenge as a caregiver, and also watching her go through the pain of losing her abilities. So it's growing old is not for sissies. That's what we always say. So that's kind of the first part. So here briefly are the 7 obstacles to peace of mind. We also call them mental afflictions. They're selfish wanting, which never makes you happy. Assuming and taking life for granted, like ingratitude. Being lazy as opposed to actually getting some good rest, but laziness. Too much stuff. Attachment, and here we're talking about unhealthy attachment. Ignorance or ignorance. And oh yes, the painful emotions that we go through. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the 7 obstacles to peace of mind. These are 7 that I have chosen. They're also known as mental afflictions, also known in the Buddhist world as kleshas. If you ever hear the word klesha, Klesha, I know it's in our dictionary. Those are mental afflictions, things that cause us mental anguish and struggle. So the first one here is selfish wanting. And that's the feeling that you're never satisfied. Maybe there's people around who care, but you don't notice it. They're just not good enough. They're not doing what you want them to do. You might roll your eyes and complain that, oh, God, that one. And even wish that they would go away. But there are many kind-hearted people who mean well, and they may be annoying to you. But if you're strong with your selfish wanting, you're not going to appreciate other people or pay attention to them or care about them. So you have strong likes and dislikes, and it's an obstacle for sure. The second one is I call it taking life for granted. And it's just being jaded on what you have. And, the groceries at the store they're on the shelf for you. People are working for you to have what you have, the gas stations, the streets, the doctors. Think about it. Your doctor went to medical school and went into debt and, started a practice, and just so you could have a doctor, dealing with all the insurance and everything else. But you might take it for granted. The next obstacle, number 3, is being lazy. Now, don't confuse that with getting good rest and taking care of yourself. That's very important, and we must stress the importance of self-care and relaxation. But in this case, we're talking about kind of a laziness that's not helpful to you, like just mentally sloppy, like feeling self-defeated, giving up, feeling sorry for yourself, not putting in your share maybe of the energy or the work, and thinking life's too hard and you just need to just whatever. Kind of a bad attitude goes along with laziness. Feeling like a victim. So there's a kind of spiritual laziness where you don't take responsibility for your own results as well. And when we understand the laws of karma, we realize that we have to really put out some effort. So there was something else I was going to say about that, but anyway. And then excess, too much stuff. So again, the things can be the obvious manifestation of a mental condition and a spiritual condition. So, I have piles of CDs. I even have, cassette tapes that I haven't thrown away. So you collect things, but then you don't do as well at getting them out the door. Even thinking that it's not good to throw things away, like the dump's going to have too much stuff in it, so you better not. But the dump will be fine if you put your cassettes in there, But in the emotional side too, it's maybe caring too much about what other people are doing. That can be also another part of having too much stuff, because the stuff in your mind is busy, wondering what other people are doing. When someone told me mind your own business, the first time I was so insulted and like, what? Mind my own business? So then obstacle number 5 that we're addressing here is attachment. And again, just like with rest versus lazy, there's normal, natural, healthy human attachment that we have to our loved ones, our parents, our companions, our children, our pets, our animals. But in this, we're kind of talking about excessive attachment that turns into control, being upset and angry if things don't go the way you want them to go, attachment to your thoughts, your ideas of how things should be. And it really gets in the way of relationships when people, feel like they can't be themselves because you're worried about what they have or haven't done for you. And as a grandmother and a great grandmother, I know it well, wishing people would call me, care about me. And if I don't hear from them, then, my attachment works against us because I'm having some resentment and some upset with them. So, and then number 6 is ignorance. So, ignorance can be just not having knowledge. I think that there's so much good information available to us in the world that a lot of people, if they're stuck in a rut and they don't want to hear it, they're probably ignoring what is available, or they're not interested in happiness, having a good life, being kind to others. They just stay in that rut. So that I call, sort of coin this word, ignorance, because you really know, or you have the access to the info, but you just ignore it. So yeah, and ignorance or ignorance can lead to, a whole cascade of unfortunate events. If you live your life in ignorance, you're going to have trouble. Trouble will follow you. So that's why we try so hard to really learn, and not only learn these lessons intellectually, but also emotionally and spiritually. Painful emotions, obstacle 7. Well, that's a big story, isn't it? We could go on and on about our painful emotions. We have, fear gets in the way, especially around talking about death, anger, jealousy, envy, desire, craving, control. There's plenty of, well, we have that list of 12 emotions from class 1. And those get in our way because we are, if you think about, your energy is being taken up with that. And if your cup is full of upsets, there's not going to be room for joy. And you're going to have little joy to share. And then people aren't going to want to be around you because there's someone nicer to be around. And then you're going to feel lonely and like nobody loves you. It's a rut, and it's a real cycle. Got lots of stories about those in my own life, believe me, but that could take a long time. Okay, so those are these 7 obstacles. There, I'm sure, others, and you may think of some and want to share about that. The 9 death contemplations are: death is certain, whether you're ready or not. The time of death is uncertain. You don't know when death will come. Nothing will help you in the end but spiritual understanding and practice. When it's time to die, nothing can stop it. Death will find you wherever you go. There's no life expectancy. People die at all ages. Life is fragile, and there are many causes of death. Each moment brings us a moment closer to death. We can't add time. Time slips away. And you can't take anyone or anything with you, not even your body. And now, okay, we're going to talk about the 9 death contemplations. And these we're going to, your homework this week will be to carry these contemplations into your week when you are going through your day, and just be thinking about these things. So we have the first 3 primary ones are our very earlier slides. Death is certain. We all are going to die. It'll come whether you're ready or not. The second one, of course, is that the time of death is uncertain. It could be tonight, God forbid. It could be anytime. I'm always like, I'm hoping for 20 more years because I'm really starting to have fun. But I don't know. And I just, it's not guaranteed. And then, of course, that nothing will help you in the end but your spiritual practice and your spiritual knowledge and what you're learning about the real deal about life. Also, when it comes the time for you to die, nothing's going to stop it. That's number 4. And death will find you wherever you go. It's like the Grim Reaper is right on your back, and death will happen. There's no life expectancy. And, people die of all ages. Well, I have the 2 great-grandsons who died before they were 2. And we had no idea. They were held by their great-great-grandmother before she died. And we assumed she would die first. So there's no time frame. There's no life expectancy. They might give you some statistic, but it's not to be believed. It's kind of a trick. So, yep, people die at all ages. And that life is fragile, and there are many causes of death. I think I told of an instance in an earlier class of someone who fell off a roof because he had cut his finger. You could, some people many people died with COVID, and it's just this microscopic virus that you can't even see, and it can get into your system and kill you, or a cancer, or just so many things. Sometimes the person will break their hip and go to the hospital, and they die. So, or it could be a poisonous insect bite, we just don't know. And then that each moment brings us closer to death. Every time you wake up, oh, there's one more day down the tubes. And time just doesn't go backwards. Time goes marching on. And then the last one is that, you're going to go it alone. You can't take any of your things with you, or your money, or even your memories will die, your own memories. You can't take anybody with you. It's just going to be your time. And also that you can't take this very body that you've come to know and that has carried you this far. You can't take that with you either. So these are the 9 contemplations, and yeah, that's it. They're pretty good. I mean, I've gone over and over them. So basically, the last thing I want to say is you're at a fork in the road. Think about it this way. You're at a fork in the road, and on one side is, I'm going to talk about death, and I'm going to dig into all of this, and I'm going to feel uncomfortable and worried and concerned now. And then when the time comes for my dying, I'll be less anxious than I might otherwise. I'll be somewhat prepared. And the other side of the road is, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to worry about it now because it's too upsetting. I can't talk to my family about it. They don't want to hear about it. So I'm just not. And then when the time comes, you could be in a really deep panic with a lot of regret and wish that you had. So, just kind of picture the fork in the road. And there's our last 2 slides are a fork in the road, you'll see. And then also we have a beautiful desert flower, which to me represents how things can grow in the dry desert land and be so beautiful. It's almost a metaphor for living in this crazy world that's got so much pain, and yet we can flourish and be beautiful. So, yes, that's lesson 3. So your homework is just remember these contemplations throughout your week. Oh, and if you run into a snag with yourself, try the 4 powers. Go back and look at your notes and try the 4 powers. Use those. And when you come to class, take some notes and tell us how it is for you. Here's the fork in the road, where you can talk now and suffer later, or suffer now and relax later. And here's a desert flower blooming in the rocky soil. That reminds me of us. All right. And that's the end of lesson 3. Thanks for coming.